a shame. Shame on the BBC. Shame on CNN. Shame on all Western news publications that are getting outflanked by one fucking singular dude who, on normal circumstances, is still doing a steady flow of Hasbara. But in this circumstance, and in some other unique instances where he'll just be like, no, this is bullshit. BBC just tiptoeing around, huh? Dude, I know. The command over the English language that these guys demonstrate whenever they want to talk about Israel doing something horrifying never ceases to amaze me. I saw a title. I saw an article headline. We're going to talk about this in a second. I saw an article headline that was so insane that it just wasn't even English anymore. It wasn't even the English language anymore. It was just something different. It took a life of its own. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. But yeah, the Iranian Uber driver, he's going to be fine. He's got Nostradamus backing him up. You know what I mean? Nostradamus is backing his ass up. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, God damn it. There was one title that was just like the most... Dude, this. I mean, this is the Jerusalem Post, right? Like, they are... I mean, look at this. IDF tries to reset narrative on mistaken killing of 14 Gazan aid workers. Bro, at that point, just don't even try. I don't know what you're doing. Like, what does this mean? What does anything mean? What does anything mean? What is this title, bro? I like that. I mean, look, the Jerusalem Post obviously is uniquely bad. So they're not in the business of like educating people on the truth at all. And this kind of stuff this kind of stuff basically proves, oh, this is what I was looking for. This was the original title. What is happening to the English language? IDF tries to reset mistaken killing of 14 Red Cross workers. IDF tries to reset narrative on mistaken killing of 14 Gazan aid workers. What does that mean? What like tries to reset? Like they try to bring him back alive? Is that what happened? Anyway, we're obviously going to cover this. Hold on. Let me see if I can find the... I'm going to see if there's a playlist or not. If not, I'm just going to pull some up because I have to go pee real quick as well. Immediately, as soon as I start streaming, I'm like... As soon as I start streaming, I have to piss. I have to rip a pee. It's crazy. Go piss, girl. Oh no, I'm gonna. All right, I found it. Here it is. Israel admits mistake over medic killings in Gaza. We're obviously gonna start with that. Here it is. This is not exactly a fun story to start off with, but it's a very important one. And I think my coverage on this is not just going to talk about the atrocities, but instead I'm going to be talking about the Western reception and the media, the media criticism side of this, because it's yet another disgusting story that you guys are familiar with, and there's a lot of insanity that is that revolves around the story. So I'm going to pee real quick and then.
The military has admitted its soldiers made mistakes over the killing of 15 emergency workers in Gaza last month, which sparked international outrage. Mobile phone footage that emerged forced Israel to change its account of what caused its troops to open fire on the rescue workers. The Israeli army said the convoy had been approaching suspiciously without headlights or flashing lights. A military official has now admitted that was inaccurate. Dan Johnson reports, and a warning, you may find some of the footage distressing.
This video challenges Israel's account of why its soldiers opened fire with such deadly force. It's just before dawn, and the Red Crescent paramedics and civil defense workers are answering a call to help the wounded near Rafah. Israel's military first said this convoy advanced suspiciously towards troops with the lights switched off. But you can see, these are marked vehicles and they're wearing reflective uniforms. Then, without warning, this. The shooting continues for more than 5 minutes. The paramedic who's filming says his last prayers. Refat Redwan.
His last words were praying to God, and then saying, hold on, I'm just going to give you the actual last words. Hold on. I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to paraphrase it or anything like that. He says, "Forgive me, Mother. This is the path I chose to help people." He was found in a mass grave with a bullet inside his head, alongside all of the other paramedics, alongside all of the other Red Cross workers. Israel had buried them and the ambulances as well in an effort to hide it. And predictably, Israel did the exact same things that they do. Number one, Israel does not mention any of the atrocities or even run defense for any of the atrocities that it commits normally until Western media starts making a fuss about one of the horrible acts that it has committed on a daily basis. Okay? They do stuff like this all the time. We cover it here all the time. Our coverage on this, of course, is not the same as the New York Times covering it or CNN talking about it. Okay? The only reason why you're even hearing about this story or Israel responding to the story by lying is because they had to respond to it. And once they respond to any of the horrible actions that they're engaging in, the playbook is always the same. First, they say they were Hamas. Then more evidence comes out. Then they say, okay, maybe they weren't Hamas. We mistakenly thought that they looked like Hamas. Then more evidence comes out. They say, okay, even the footage itself shows that there was not even a single piece of evidence that could lead us to believe that they were in any way, shape, or form remotely suspicious. Okay? Yeah, they just lie about they lie about the most basic shit. They lied in this situation saying like the ambulances did not have their lights on. They were moving in a suspicious way. There was a Hamas militant in the ambulance. They just lie about everything, every part of this. And then when that also is directly contradicted by the truth, they turn around and they go, okay, we're going to investigate ourselves. It was a mistake. That's the final stage. And then months later, when people follow up, they either say, yeah, we're still conducting an investigation, or never conclude the investigation. Or if they do conclude the investigation, they'll say, sorry, we're not going to punish the people. Basically a tap on the wrist at most. That is literally the only thing that ever fucking happens. Okay? And I tweeted about this earlier today. I was like, look, if this is new to you, that Israel lied again, Israel, one, engaged in a horrifying act of violence that you read about in history books, and then directly lied about it, and this is shocking to you, then you shouldn't be a journalist. Like, this is not, you shouldn't even be out in the real world without adult medical supervision at every stage. You will have to be the dumbest person on the planet to be like, oh, I can't believe Israel lied again. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I tweeted, I said, if Israel isn't lying about a horrific atrocity, that means the Western legacy press hasn't even covered it enough that it warrants them lying about it. Any journalist that's still surprised about Israel lying to them is either the biggest dumbass, a careerist, charlatan, or both. It's crazy. Oh, yeah. The other side of the story is they'll say, what about Syria? Or you're anti-Semitic for even criticizing Israel. Every step of the way. Israel. I know we lied about the ambulance workers, Shifa Hospital, Flower Massacre, beheaded babies, Hamas Hospital, Hind Rajab, the terror list, days of the week, World Central Kitchen workers, babies in ovens, white phosphorus, deliberately starving Gazans, Sinwar surrounding himself with 20 hostages in a tunnel, gassing hostages, the Al Ahli Hospital, killing women and children with white flags, mass raping Palestinians, non-existent tunnels under graveyards, Nasser Hospital, Hussam Abu Safia, mass graves, snipers targeting kids in the head, providing protection to criminal gangs to loot aid, wiping out Gaza, who refused slash collapse the ceasefire, Israel did, blowing up, and then lied and said it was Hamas, blowing up the Gazans fleeing south, Kamal Adwan Hospital, claiming dead Gazan children are dolls, creating safe zones. The general's plan, how many Hamas militants were killed, Red Crescent taking part on October 7, calling killed journalists Hamas militants, Mohammed Abu Salmiya, the Indonesian hospital, UNRWA Al-Auda hospital, killing women sheltering at church, bombing the church, destroying every single Gazan university, the Turkish cancer hospital, Hamas hiding giant stockpiles of fuel in Rafah, finding active smuggling tunnels in Rafah, hostages returning pregnant, who killed Yossi Sharabi, Itai Svirsky, Nick Bazer, Ron Sherman, Elia Toledano. Every single thing that Israel says is a lie. It is infinitely. I mean, look. You can count the times that Israel is being truthful in one hand, as opposed to every single thing that they say. Now, this is not just Israel. Every government lies. Okay, of course, every government lies. The American government lies all the goddamn time too. The difference between Israel and the United States of America, at least the lies that they've told in the past and the lies that they kind of continue to tell now, the difference between Israel and America is that because there is such an airtight consent manufacturing machine due to Israel's aligned interest with the American State Department, that they don't even see the need to lie in a sophisticated manner. There's two factors at play here. One, the severity of the violence makes it virtually impossible to lie about or impossible to turn a blind eye to because they are so horny for bloodshed. So incredibly, there's so much appetite for bloodshed, both in Israel and the IDF is demonstrating that bloodshed on a daily basis. Okay? But on top of that, there is not really any mechanism of pushback. There's no interest in covering this issue truthfully because it's all the way over there from Western media in general. When they lie, there's rarely ever any pushback. This is one of the few instances of documented lies that Israel has partook in it. In an effort to defend, again, something indefensible. And everyone is acting like they're so shocked by this. Like I saw Barak Ravid covering this in Hebrew, talking about how much shame Israel has brought, how much shame the IDF and the Israeli officials have brought to the great Jewish state, because they've really they've really broken the bonds of trust with Western media with this one. Oh no, you really fucked it up here. And it blows my mind because it's like, it's not even any different. What do you mean they fucked it up? It's not like they've ever seen any repercussions. Why would their expectations be any different this time? It's not the first time that they've done this. The only reason why this became a major story after Western press straight up omitted key details from this issue by refusing to talk to the Palestinian Red Cross workers and acting like they were inaccessible, like acting as though they could not, the New York Times, the paper of record, could not reach out to the Palestinian Red Crescent Society. Like, that's crazy. They were like, oh yeah, we just went with the Israeli government narrative because we just could not confirm nor deny or reach out to any of the fucking Palestinian Red Cross people. An insult to the profession at a time when it is needed the most. Insane. The only reason why we found out about it is because they uncovered the mass graves. And after that, Israel predictably lied about it and the media played along with it. But this brave first responders' phone camera footage was found in the aftermath that directly contradicted the Israeli narrative surrounding it. That's it. That's literally the only reason. It's a miracle that the footage from the guy's phone got out. It's not a miracle. It's incompetence. Or rather, it's not even incompetence. It's actually hubris. The Israeli terrorists that assassinated these healthcare workers didn't even go through their phones or break their phones or anything like that after assassinating them because they're like, yeah, nobody cares. That's it. That's what it is. And the entitlement and the arrogance demonstrated by the Israeli state, because who's going to check them, is the reason why they don't even feel the need to try and massage the narrative and just straightforwardly lie. If this footage had not come out, it wouldn't even make a blip. Because let me tell you something. This is not the first time they've done this. They've done this virtually every week since October 7. I mean, like directly killing healthcare workers, okay? They've done this. They've done this hundreds of times since October 7. They did this to Western aid workers. So why is that even remotely surprising that they would think that, you know, this is business as usual? It is business as usual. Yeah, they did this before October 7 as well. There are mass graves all over Gaza, chat. You're crazy if you think that this is new. I can't even fault the average American for being horrified by this instance and being shocked that a foreign state would lie so openly, so deliberately, without any care whatsoever. Because if the only news that you're hearing is from outlets that write titles like this: Israeli military changes account of Gaza paramedics killing video after video of attack, or IDF tried to reset narrative. I mean, this is Jerusalem Post, so it's not Western press, but you know, like, video footage appears to contradict Israeli account of Gaza medic killings. Appears to contradict, like, things that you can observe with your own eyes. Hard data, hard evidence itself still is at odds and contradicting the statements made by the Israeli government. It's like, why is the Israeli government that has so consistently lied without, in the least sophisticated ways possible, as a matter of fact, why is that a higher point of authority than like things that we can see and observe with our own two fucking eyes? Things that we can hear. It's insane to me. It is truly and utterly insane that even when you can see something visually, visual evidence of a instance of horrible executions of healthcare workers, first responders, and it's still at odds with the Israeli government statements on it. So that has a higher point of authority here. It's like straight up 1984. Don't believe your lying eyes. This is the reason why people are oblivious. And even in spite of this media blockade, okay, in spite of the media's best attempts, the Western media's best attempts, people are still aware of at least a fraction of the cruelty, and the limited amount of cruelty that they see is enough for them to go, this is fucking insane. What are we doing?
One of 15 killed.
His phone was found with his body, and he recorded the whole event. His last words before being shot: "Forgive me, Mom. I just wanted to help people. I wanted to save lives."
The footage only emerged when teams could safely reach this site 7 days later. The bodies were buried along with the vehicles. Regular practice, the army says, to protect them from animals. The UN called this a mass grave. Israel's account was already in question. The only paramedic to live through the shooting told us earlier this week they had their lights on and it was clear they were medics.
I am the only survivor who saw what happened to my colleagues, and I will expose the crimes committed by the occupation against them.
On Tuesday, Israel's response was in defense of its forces.
The IDF did not randomly attack an ambulance. Last Sunday, several uncoordinated vehicles were identified advancing suspiciously toward IDF troops without...
Oh, my bad. Big mistake. We made a big mistake, guys. It's not a mistake. You're ethnically cleansing the strip. It's a killing field. It's not a mistake. This is also a lie. When they say this is a mistake, no. The mistake is you foolishly thought that people would not uncover the mass graves that you had put forth. And then also on top of that, you thought that the Western media wouldn't care about the story as much, or you thought that even if they did care about the story, there wouldn't be any real footage, any real evidence, hard evidence beyond firsthand accounts of Palestinians, which obviously nobody fucking cares about because Palestinians are not seen as human beings in Western media. Yeah, it's not random, it's indiscriminate. Exactly. Indiscriminate killing is the policy here. And therefore, it has the capacity to look random if you don't recognize what's going on. To the onlooker from afar, you're like, oh, well, this seems like a big mistake. They didn't even, like, it's not like they bombed them. They shot them directly. They assassinated these people. They executed them. The only reason why it looks disorganized is because you can't have complete command over all of your troops and give them the directive to ethnically cleanse people. And even then, sometimes they do, like the Golani brigades and whatnot. Okay? But this is how you unfold ethnic cleansing, systematize, process ethnic cleansing in a way that looks disorganized and disordered, because you're just letting them do whatever they want to do and showing them that there is no accountability internally within the military structure. If they knew that what they had done was appropriate, they wouldn't have fucking buried the ambulances, by the way. Yeah, and Israel has responded to footage showing its forces killing on clearly marked ambulances on Rafah on March 23rd. The military said Golani Brigade soldiers under the 14th Armored Brigade had staged an ambush around 4 a.m. in Tel al-Sultan neighborhood. A video aired on Israel's Channel 14 in early April shows a Golani commander briefing troops before the operation. Here are some of the words that this brigade had said. Everyone you meet is an enemy. You recognize a person, open fire, eliminate them, and move on. Why? We create immense military pressure. We kill a lot of enemies, take a lot of their land. That's how the hostages are returned to this point. Everyone you meet is an enemy. You recognize a person, you open fire, eliminate, and move on. Don't get confused on the subject. I've never seen a situation where they so clearly detail all of this out. Where they so clearly detail it out. They're like, this is an ethnic cleansing. This is a genocide. We're doing a genocide. We love doing ethnic cleansing. Here's how you are going to do the ethnic cleansing. You're going to kill every single person that you see. It does not matter. Kill them dead. Over and over again. And people are still like, I don't know, man. I really want to feel like Israel's in the right here. So your statements are actually hurting my feelings. And so I'm going to cynically claim that this is anti-Semitism. You openly detailing and showcasing things that the Israeli military and the Israeli government are voluntarily saying is actually making me feel uncomfortable about Israel's actions because I want to feel like Israel's a moral nation. So I'm going to go ahead and cynically say you're being anti-Semitic. It is fucking insane. Truly. If you defend Israel, you're a horrible monster. That's it. You're an awful person, barely a human. You have dehumanized yourself in defense of an apartheid state that is doing a genocide. Shame on you. If you had a conscience, you wouldn't be able to fucking sleep at night. Actual Nazis. Look at this pathological liar. Israel's deputy foreign minister receives talking points mid-interview. What is this?
Sharon, let's begin with these bodies that have been found in southern Gaza. Should there be an investigation?
Don't you defend known terrorists? Brother, there has never been a moment where I've defended the nation state of Israel or the nation state of the United States of America. They are the known terrorists here, okay? The people that are being slaughtered by these known terrorists are not terrorists. You're a dumbass. Do you think the Nazis were the terrorists or the resistance networks that tried to fight back against them? Well, considering you're a fucking Nazi right now, you probably would defend the Nazi regime as well in that process. You'd be like, yeah, these Jews should not have been resisting. Why did they do the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising? How dare they? Jew boy 69 688. Just all you got is just like spamming the Israeli flag in this moment. It's gross. I need you to understand something, okay? Toothpaste is out of the tube. You can't put it back. You can't. Go ahead, keep posting your swastika flag in the fucking chat. It's not gonna change anything. It's not gonna change the truth. Every single day that goes on, every single new child or healthcare worker or doctor or professor that Israel kills, every single hospital that Israel blows up is causing people to recognize the truth. Israel is a fucking pariah state. And you are a scumbag. You've always been a scumbag for defending Israel, but now at least more people are aware that you're a scumbag for defending Israel.
On why is Israel killing emergency workers?
So this is absolutely incorrect. There has been no such case like that. But
how do you know?
There have been mistakes, the events with the Central World Kitchen, that's been a grave mistake. But the fact is, I don't know what case you're referring to, but...
So Hamas killing innocent civilians is okay? Did I say that? Where's that chatter? Damn, you guys are clapping them real quick before I can even respond. Dude, it's so instructive that Israel slaughtering Red Cross medical workers and then putting them in a fucking unmarked mass grave, including the goddamn ambulance in the unmarked mass grave that they put forth. And all you have is, well, Hamas. Israel is worse than Hamas. Please get it through your dense skull, okay? Israel is 1,000,000 times worse than Hamas. Do you understand? Mathematically, Israel is insanely, like, it's not even on the same moral playing field to begin with. Israel is the reason why Hamas is a militant resistance group. Because of this shit. Because Israel's been doing this for 76 years. You're out of your mind. What are we talking about, man? What are we talking about? Wake up. Oh, what about October 7? What about Hamas? What about Hamas? Israel's done an October 7 virtually every week since October 7. What do you mean, what about October 7? What about the following week of October 7? And the week after, and the week after, the 17 months after October 7, and you're still talking about October 7. You're out of your goddamn mind, dude. Shut the fuck up. Israel was doing October 7 shit, kidnapping Palestinians illegally in illegally occupied territory in the West Bank every single day before October 7. The fuck do you mean October 7? Just look at what Israel has done since October 7. Many people, at least, recognized the cruelty, recognized the process, recognized what this is, what Israel is all about after October 7. They were oblivious to it before, but it was impossible to ignore after. And it's wild to me that people still cling on to this narrative.
Every event that you get from Hamas, you don't take it with a grain of salt. You take it with a shovel of salt. Hamas has been spreading propaganda since day one.
I'm not talking about Hamas. I'm talking about the Red Crescent.
Hold on. A research center, okay, from London actually provide information and evidence how Hamas is inflating number, how they're actually reducing the age of some of the victims.
You're not disputing that 15 bodies have been found, have you? Or that 8 of them are Red Crescent workers?
Look, I think that if I haven't heard about this case,
oh my God.
Look, every case that actually happened, we investigate in depth. Okay.
Oh my God. Dude, so bad. So fucking bad. How are you this bad at your job? How are you this bad at your job? That is crazy. That is oh my God. Thank God they're bad. I guess it's a unique predicament because, like, how can you be good at this? You know? God damn.
If there's an investigation happening regarding a case, I would be very short and very, cautious about making declarative and statements as we've heard before.
Freak. Actual freak. I'm genuinely shocked at that Jesus Christ people still swallow this propaganda from Israel whole. Unbelievable. No, I don't think that there are as many people as you think that are just like eating this propaganda whole. I think people are just like either oblivious or I don't know. I think that I think overall people are just oblivious to it because the media just covers this in the worst way possible. And it's happening far away.
Headlights.
Now, that narrative's been upended. Tonight, a military official admitted the soldiers were mistaken about the lights and the threat they were under. The army insists 6 of the dead belonged to Hamas, but it denies they were executed at close range. The changing
That's still a lie. It's not a changing story. They've just been lying since the beginning. They've just never stopped. They've never stopped lying. They're still lying. Oh my God, I'm losing my mind.
Story, though, is only increasing the pressure.
Like, look, media cares about media narratives. This is a major story. This is a major story. Okay? The very fact that the atrocities itself is obviously a story in and of itself, but even if you're not covering the atrocity, Israel's lying is a story in and of itself. Israel lying like this is a part of this story. It's just a different story. You should be like, this is so crazy that like they just make shit up completely. And even when they're found, they keep making shit up. They continue to make more shit up. What the fuck is happening?
For an independent investigation. This footage lay buried for a week in the Gaza sand. Now it is forcing Israel to give answers and adding to the calls for accountability. Dan Johnson, BBC News in Jerusalem.
Of as a direct consequence of consistently defending these sorts of erroneous claims, these sorts of like open lies. And that's it. So what Israel is doing will take out mainstream credibility, like the credibility of mainstream press, or what remains of the credibility of mainstream press. That's it. Because it seems to me like the American government is not going to drop Israel. And on top of that, it seems to me like the mainstream press is not going to stop supporting Israel unconditionally and vociferously. Okay? And therefore, it's going to turn into what it more and more people just feeling resentful towards the institutions that defend this shit. Do you see what I'm saying? All of the institutions, whether it be the American government, whether it be mainstream press, all the institutions that defend this kind of ridiculous, these kinds of ridiculous lies and the atrocities, in an effort to defend the atrocities themselves, the state that is engaging in these atrocities, they're all going to lose. They are all going to lose their credibility. And they are. They already are. That's what's happening right now.
Abtizam Mohammed and Yuan Yang were both refused entry into the country by Israeli immigration officials after landing at Tel Aviv airport on Saturday night. According to Israeli media reports, they were denied entry because they intended to spread hateful rhetoric against Israel, the Israeli population, and the immigration authority. In a statement, David Lammy said, "I've made clear to my counterparts in the Israeli government that this is no way to treat British parliamentarians, and we've been in contact with both MPs tonight to offer our support." Tom Simons reports.
Abtizam Mohammed, a Sheffield MP, and Yuan Yang, who represents a Reading constituency, were detained yesterday trying to enter Israel. The British government said they were on a parliamentary delegation. Both are certainly strong.
What will it take? Like, I genuinely don't know. I'm asking. What will it take? What will it take for people to be like, all right, dude, this is a bridge too far? Like, do they have to just like flagrantly assassinate like a Western leader or something and just be like, we're doing this. We did it. We love doing it. We're going to keep doing it. Is that when people will be like, okay, maybe we got to reconsider our unconditional loyalty to Israel. Like, it just doesn't make any sense, dude.
Critics of Israel's military action in Gaza and the death and destruction it's caused. But media outlets in Israel, quoting the country's authorities, said the MPs admitted when questioned they would be spreading what was described as hateful rhetoric against Israel. The Foreign Secretary David Lammy said on X, "It is unacceptable, counterproductive and deeply concerning that 2 British MPs on a parliamentary delegation to Israel have been detained and refused entry by the Israeli authorities. I've made it clear to my counterparts in the Israeli government that this is no way to treat British parliamentarians." The 2 MPs have both put pressure on their ministers to introduce sanctions against Israel.
Ethnic cleansing is taking place before our very own eyes and the world remains silent. Will the minister confirm that Israel must allow Palestinians to return to northern Gaza and that any settlements there would be illegal?
We would like more action, and we do not think the current action is enough. And so I would like to remind him of the comments previously made by the Prime Minister on looking into sanctions against Minister Ben-Gvir and Minister Smotrich for their comments supporting the illegal resettlement of northern Gaza.
Yang Yuan, a former Financial Times journalist, has also highlighted the lack of access for the media in Gaza, preventing first-hand reporting.
Well, Yaakov Katz is a senior fellow at the Jewish People Policy Institute and a former editor-in-chief of the Jerusalem Post. I asked him why the British MPs had been detained.
I think that what we can definitely say is that Moshe Arbel, the Interior Minister, doesn't make these decisions independently. This is based on...
Are you still planning on going to Gaza? Are you fucking stupid, dude? Are you oblivious to what's going on? How? How would that even happen? A bunch of journalists, and myself included, were trying to open up the Rafah pathway during the ceasefire period. The ceasefire is over. Israel has opened up the genocide faucet again. Even then, it would have been impossible. Pretty much. It's bait. When did you become a journalist, Hassan? What did I say? I'm a journalist? I said a bunch of journalists and myself, as in I'm not a journalist. What is this? What is happening?
These might be doing, but just to give some context to it, it's not the first time that Israel has done something like this to elected officials that it fears might be coming to the country to stir unrest. A few years ago, during the first Trump administration, 2 Democratic members of the House of Representatives, Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar, well-known and very vocal, vitriol critics of Israel, came and tried to enter the country, and they were also denied entry. So this is something that Israel very rarely does, even when engaging with friends of it, like the United States or the United Kingdom.
Well, good thing that you mentioned that they have done it, though. So that's weird. Kind of feels like they do that then. No? Just like, oh, no, you don't understand. It's just a very rare thing that they do, even though here are instances where they have done it. Just rare.
Kingdom. So I think that what we're looking at is really a delicate balance between Israel's interest and, of course, maintaining and preserving very important political, diplomatic, cultural relations with these countries, but at the same time, making sure that people, like any country, is allowed to prevent people from entering who are going to undermine the fabric of society and try to cause harm to the state of Israel.
Well,
insane. Incredible. Yeah. No, you don't get it. It's actually perfectly valid. It's perfectly valid for Israel to do this because they'll undermine the delicate fabric of Israeli society by speaking the truth. If the truth is going to undermine your delicate fabric of society, then you don't deserve to have a society like that. That's my take, at least.
But effectively, they were denied entry, and the Israeli authorities have been saying because they were here not on an official delegation, which is something the Foreign Office has contradicted, and also because they were here, according to the Israelis, to spread hatred. We'll see what the MPs themselves have to say when they land, but this has clearly caused a lot of tension between the government in London with the Foreign Secretary describing it as unacceptable and saying this is no way to treat a delegation of parliamentarians.
Yes, the reasons given were that they intended to spread hateful rhetoric. Do we understand what they mean by that?
No, we don't. There's been no elaboration on what they meant by that. And of course, that doesn't sound like something you would say if you were questioned, does it? I'm here to spread hateful rhetoric. So we'll see what their account of that interview and that interrogation was when they land. But clearly, these two MPs have a background. The Israeli authorities will know that background, know what they've said on the record in Parliament about Israel and about Israel's activities. And I've no doubt that will have been part of the judgment here. They will have checked these people out before they came in and made a decision that they didn't want to let them into the country.
It's just, look, it's so consistent. It's so flagrant. It's so obvious. At this stage, if you are a government that's allowing this to happen, especially when considering that Israel would not even be able to do any of this without Western support. Israel would not exist in the violent ways that it does without Western support. So at this stage, if you're a government that looks at this and goes, well, what are you going to do? It's just Israel being Israel. It is what it is. Or try to defend it in any capacity. Or if you're an institution like the media. Hassan, why is your chat so cringe and fascist-pilled? What are you saying? Who is fascist-pilled? Who says fascist-pilled? If you're a mainstream institution, like a mainstream media institution, and you still run defense and run cover for Israel when it's like so flagrantly and so very clearly violating norms and so arrogant and so entitled in the way that they're doing it, it is no wonder that fucking, especially when tied to the association with Judaism, the false conflation of Judaism, it's no wonder that anti-Semitism grows. Like, what are you doing? You're doing David Icke style conspiracies on your own. You're like, no, the conspiracies are real. We do actually control the media. We do actually do this for Judaism. All Jews care about this. Over and over and over again. Of course, people are going to respond to that. Of course, people are going to respond to that and be like, okay, well, now I believe you. I guess my perspective on this is different because, like, as someone who's lived in the United States of America, whose name is Hassan, right? It feels like Israel's doing like pro-ISIS style commentary. The false association, the false conflation of Islam and ISIS to deliberately create Islamophobia in the West so that people would be more tolerant to all of the death and destruction overseas was done by people who weren't Muslim. But here it feels like Jews and non-Jews alike who love Israel make that conflation. Israel is exactly like ISIS. Israel operates exactly like ISIS, down to the false conflation of religion. I don't know how other people don't recognize this. I don't know how they don't see it. It's like Israel's actions and its defense feel like if, a lot of Muslim leaders in the West were like, you're being Islamophobic if you think what ISIS is doing is wrong. You know what I mean? Can you imagine there's like people running around like Muslims themselves, not the state, not the media, because the media did make that conflation, because that conflation was deliberate, methodical, helped their goals in bombing the living shit out of every fucking Muslim country. It just doesn't make any sense.
And finally, Gary, we've had the reports from the Israeli military admitting that its initial accounts of what happened when 50...
You're not being annoying. I'm very familiar with forensicarchitecture.org, okay? It is a resource that I'm very familiar with. They did great work on the Al Ahli bombing, and I've used them in the past, and I've talked about them many times over.
15 emergency workers were killed on March the 23rd. They've admitted mistakes in those initial accounts. What do we understand actually did take place?
Well, in some sense, they've been forced to admit these are mistakes because a video emerged yesterday which showed these vehicles, these ambulances and a fire truck approaching.
Words don't have any meaning anymore, dude. A mistake implies that you didn't intend to assassinate these healthcare workers. A mistake implies that you don't want to do it again. What Israel did to the healthcare workers is not a mistake. It's just regular process. That's it. And they've done it every single day. This is not the first time this has happened. I cannot stress this enough. Israel has killed hundreds of healthcare workers. Israel's tortured doctors, kidnapped them and tortured them. The mistake is that they got caught.
Where their occupants were actually killed with all their lights on and with their signals flashing. Now, the Israeli authorities had originally said that they were acting suspiciously. They had no lights on, no emergency signals flashing, and that's why they'd been engaged.
For the record, even if those ambulances did not have their lights on, what do you mean it's valid to shoot at ambulances? Like, even Israel's initial defense is psychotic and only works because there is so much dehumanizing propaganda against Palestinians. Okay? Like, their defense, their initial defense also doesn't meet the standard of international law. Think about that. Like, their first line of defense they came out with also didn't make sense. So mad, Lamau, but we'll never talk about Muslims, murders, and killers. Hypocrites, huh? What are you talking about? What the fuck are you saying? What do you mean this is hypocritical? So mad, Lamau. Yeah, I am mad. If you have a fucking conscience, you should be mad too, dumb fuck. What do you mean? So mad, Lamau? Like, you think this isn't something to be mad about? You're fine with this? It seems like you are, considering that you immediately want to go, what about Muslims, murderers? I'm not even saying this is Jews doing the murder. You understand that, right? Because that's not the case. This is Israel doing it. You fucking baboon. That's the other thing. This is another reason why Islamophobia is perfectly permissible, except anti-Semitism, at least right now, and that's changing. But for the time being, anti-Semitism is still institutionally regarded as something that's inappropriate and unacceptable. Now that's changing. Make no mistake, especially if you're a right-winger. Holy moly. They do say this exact same thing, but role reversal with Jews. They literally would just turn around and be like, yeah. The irony, of course, is that this person cannot even comprehend the words that are coming out of my mouth because I was just talking about ISIS. I was just talking about ISIS and the false conflation of Islam and ISIS. He just doesn't understand that. In his mind, he's like, this is how all Muslims are.
By the Israeli forces in this suburb, this area just outside of Rafah in the southern part of the Gaza Strip. Now, they say that they're looking into it. They say that at least 6 of those who were killed had links with Hamas. They have produced no evidence to prove that or to demonstrate that at this stage. And they have said that none of these people that were killed were armed. They were then buried in these shallow graves covered over by sand. The Israeli authorities say they did that to prevent wild animals from taking the bodies of these people. But it did then take a week for the UN to be able to find this sort of shallow grave, I suppose you'd call it. And some of the people that examined those bodies have suggested that, that these were sort of execution-style killings, perhaps some people with their hands tied.
I mean, it was execution-style killings. By the way, here's a Tory leader saying she supports Israel's decision to deport the 2 Labour MPs who were on a fact-finding mission to the country. Look how cucked you have to be.
Who represent us in Parliament should be people who should be able to go anywhere in the...
Bro, if you're not a very educated guy and you have no capacity for critical thinking and you see a British MP go on television and be like, yeah, Israel's the Jewish nation state and they get to do this to our MPs. I care more about Israel and their actions than I do my own countrymen. How the fuck is the expectation that that person watching this news hit is not going to come out of that thinking, oh my God, Jews do fucking control the media and the goddamn MPs? Like, how is that? How is anybody looking at the situation and going, this is not going to go somewhere very scary? And it already is. Like, what are we doing? Like, what is this? The last year and the way that politicians in the West have tried to dance around this issue and avoid the overwhelming public sentiment against Israel, like, is like out of the dreams of David Duke. Okay, they don't even have to do propaganda anymore. They don't have to fucking lie at all. They can just simply repeat what Jake Tapper is saying, repeat what these people are saying over and over again. Be like, see, they're saying Israel's for the Jews, is the Jewish nation, and we must defend them. And if you criticize them, then you're anti-Semitic. If you criticize baby murder, you're anti-Semitic.
And people not be worried about what they're going to do when they go into those countries.
Are you suggesting the Israelis were right to worry that these 2 Labour politicians would break the law if they got into the country?
Well, that's the reason they gave. And what I believe is that every country should be able to control its borders. We do the same thing. There are many people that we don't allow into our country, and I don't think we should be setting precedents in a different way.
So just to be clear...
Dog, that is your co-workers. What are you saying? There's many people we don't allow into our country. What are you... But you're British. Those are British MPs. What are you saying? You're not Israeli. You are not in Israel. What the fuck? What are you saying? Israel is a welfare state as a recipient of unlimited funds from the United States of America and the UK. What the fuck are you saying right now? What? We don't allow people into our country.
Do you believe the Israeli government's account of this, not the Foreign Secretary who says they were treated unacceptably?
The Foreign Secretary has given his view. I've given my view.
Okay, you have given your view. Tony Badenoch, it's great to have you with us in this.
I guess there's a hidden truth there, by the way, which is that if we criticize Israel for this, we can't do it ourselves. And I like doing it ourselves. You know, watch Tory leader Kemi Badenoch advocate putting Britain first in foreign policy speech. Yeah. America first means putting Israel first. British first means putting Israel first. That's what it means. I mean, obviously it doesn't actually mean putting American citizens first. America first does not mean you're putting actual citizens first. That's never been the case. It's just pure patriotic babble to delude the masses into thinking that you actually care about their well-being. It's a stoking nationalistic fervor in an effort to make them look the other way as you rob them blind. You know, as you take away their limited resources. Oh, last thing I wanted to talk about with the Israel thing is, of course, Trey Yingst, who I've talked about quite a bit. He is Fox News' foreign correspondent, as you guys know, and he is one of the only major news publication journalists that has actively called out Israel. It's so insane that he is the Fox News foreign correspondent. Okay? He is their guy in Israel. And he's done a lot of, pro-Israel propaganda, make no mistake. But in the sea of that pro-Israel propaganda, he is one of the only journalists in any mainstream publication that has demonstrated a clear conscience on the assassination of his colleagues that happen to be Palestinian. It is crazy that it's the Fox News guy. Okay? He is the Fox News guy, and he has consistently been like, Israel's killing journalists. What the fuck are you guys doing? How are you guys not talking about how Israel just keeps killing journalists? How is this acceptable? And now he's also covering the unmarked mass graves of the Palestinian Red Crescent Society, the first responders that Israel assassinated.
Paramedics from the Palestine Red Crescent dig through the earth of southern Gaza. They're recovering the bodies of their colleagues killed by Israeli forces. On March 23rd, first responders were dispatched to this area of Rafah. When they arrived, Israeli soldiers opened fire.
Health workers should never be a target, and yet we're here today digging up a mass grave of first responders and paramedics.
On March 31st, the IDF provided a statement to Fox News saying, quote, several vehicles were identified advancing suspiciously toward IDF troops without headlights or emergency signals. Video released 5 days later by the Palestine Red Crescent directly contradicts that statement. The IDF also claimed in the initial findings that 9 out of the 15 medics were operatives in Hamas and Islamic Jihad. Asked multiple times for evidence to support that claim, none was provided. Funerals were held late last week for those killed by Israeli bullets. Families mourning the dead, mothers trying to make sense of the senseless. He went to save the martyrs and injured.
Dude, he's not mincing his words at all. It's crazy. He's not. Like, how is this better coverage than BBC, man? A shame. Shame on the BBC. Shame on CNN. Shame on all Western news publications that are getting outflanked by one fucking singular dude who, on normal circumstances, is still doing a steady flow of Hasbara. But in this circumstance and in some other unique instances where he'll just be like, no, this is fucking bullshit. How is it that there's like a handful of mainstream reporters that every now and then will accurately cover the news? How is that the expectation here? It's crazy.
And we've been waiting for him for a week. We were told that he was either martyred or injured, but I realized that they had killed them from the very first moment.
Is Fox News just going full anti-Semite now? No. What are you talking about? No. Fox News is literally even somehow more pro-Israel than every one of these other outlets. This is one of the few unique instances where Trey Ying's own personal voice comes through the coverage, and it's one of the unique instances where Trey Ying's also will, actively cover the story in the way that you normally would. It has nothing to do with anti-Semitism. What the fuck?
They had killed them and buried them underground. As bodies of these medics rest inside white plastic bags with a photo attached, the face of Rifat Radwan stands out, the man who recorded his final moments with a final message. Forgive me, Mother. This is the path I chose to help people, he said.
Yeah. Israel is based as fuck. Sick, man. It's so funny that Israel dick riders don't realize that they're contributing to people hating Israel with the ways in which they choose to defend Israel and the horrifying actions that they even try to cover.